All right, 3, 2, 1. Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hybrid Ministry Show. I, as always, am your host, Nick Clayson. So thrilled to be here with you on this episode, and we're going to be continuing on in our journey of the 6-step church social media framework. But today, in this episode, I am going to talk about a social media that if you don't have time to go in on any of the other things that we talk about, this is the one that I highly recommend. As a youth pastor myself, I recommend this primarily for student ministries. However, I want to be very clear that this is the number one social media for Generation Z. And you might think, oh, I'm exempt from that. I don't have to worry about Generation Z. And that's just simply not true. You do, and it will become more and more of a prevalent problem, so to speak. Not that Generation Z is a problem, but more and more of a prevalent demographic in your church congregation. More and more. They're graduating every single year, and then they're soon becoming a part of the church or not a part of the church if we're not willing to speak their native language and if we're not willing to reach them where they are. Soon, as youth pastors, we are no longer going to have Generation Z even as a part of our ministry, because Generation Alpha is right now sitting in our 6th grade, our 5th grade, our 4th grade. They are the soon-to-be new generation. And so Gen Z, this digital strategy matters for them. And yes, you guessed it, we're talking about TikTok. So all that and more on this episode. As always, show notes, hybridministry.xyz. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow me personally on my TikTok. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and please, we would love it if you would give us a rating, especially if you find this information helpful. Share it with a friend. But without any further ado, let's dive into why TikTok matters. All right, well, let's talk about the current state of TikTok as it stands in 2023. So, TikTok in just 11 years, so starting back in 2011, all the way now to 2023, so I guess 12 years, TikTok has grown from 0 users all the way up to 1 billion estimated users, ranking it 4th in social media usage and platforms. So it's only behind Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and then TikTok is 4th. Facebook is at 2.9 billion, YouTube is at 2.2 billion, Instagram is at 1.4 billion, and TikTok is at 1 billion. Now, keep in mind that I think that Facebook and Instagram both play a role, but if you're going to go all in on one, I think you should go all in on TikTok. Facebook often is really popular with the Generation X. Instagram is much more popular with my generation of millennials. And TikTok was made famous by our favorite Generation Z. And TikTok is driving what these other legacy platforms of Facebook, of Instagram, and even YouTube are doing. So all of the players ahead of TikTok in the estimated users, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all three of those, if you notice, have a TikTok feature element woven into them. Reels, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and YouTube Shorts. And they're all three trying to compete and catch up with the wild craze that is TikTok. So what even was TikTok? You might remember that TikTok originally started as a brand called Musical.ly or Musical.ly, and it was branded and started much as a lip syncing app. I remember as a youth pastor, there were students that would just lip sync and do the Musical.ly type of deals. And so it was rebranded as TikTok, and it has come around and it has shot up in a meteoric rise of popularity to become the almost number one, and not like number one in downloads, like I just read for you the stats, but like number one in just desirability, right, of like entertainment apps. And social media switched, right, from being like this social, legitimately social, like connection of like human people. I'm friends with my grandma and I'm friends with my aunt, to a platform of entertainment. You get on there to watch, to be entertained, to be informed, to be inspired, to be encouraged, to learn something, to laugh. All right, that's what TikTok has kind of become. And so TikTok was historically thought to be adopted and used by teenagers primarily. And that's why, again, when we think of Generation Z, we think, oh, those are teenagers, right? But I want to read for you something. Some of the most recent data says this. 10-year-olds to 19-year-olds make up 32.5% of the users on TikTok, where 20 to 29-year-olds make up 29.5% of the users on TikTok. 30 to 39-year-olds make up 16.4%, 40 to 49-year-olds make up 13.9%, and 50 plus make up 7.1%. So if you do some quick, dirty math, you're looking at greater than 60% of your users are anywhere from the age of 10 to 30, and if you do a little bit more math, 75% of the users on the TikTok app are under the age of 40. Now, let me ask you, is this something that youth pastors only need to be worried about? And I would contend that the answer is no. Yes, the greatest use is of the younger generations, but 10 to 19, that 19-year-old is going to be 20 pretty soon. And my guess is you want to reach a 20-year-old. Like, my guess is you want to reach a 25, a 27, a 32-year-old. And so start going where they are. So according to an article from September 2022 in the New York Times, this is what it said. It said, TikTok is now becoming the new search engine for Generation Z. Here's what the quote says. This is a powerful tool for teenagers, for students, and for the people in your congregation. So according to this aforementioned New York Times article, more and more young people are using TikTok's powerful algorithm, which personalizes the videos that are shown to you in your For You page, which is based on your interactions with the content. And so to find information that uncannily caters to their tastes, that tailoring is then coupled with a sense that there are real people on the app and are synthesizing and delivering information rather than just simply faceless websites. So right there is where you find the social component. But greater than 80 to 90% of the content that most people interact with on TikTok comes from people that they have never met. So bear in mind that the usage is meteoric and it is rising faster and faster. And also that now Generation Z is going to TikTok as one of their primary places for search. And what did we talk about was the reason in the last episode that YouTube was such a crucial ground for you to be diving into as a church creator, is you could create very custom how-to content. So that's also now the case with TikTok. One last thing that is important for you to know about TikTok. While TikTok does is only fourth, right, in the overall ranking of social media apps, there was a term coined as power users, and 29% of TikTok users are considered power users, and they're the ones who will use the app every single day. And further study on that, TikTok users spend, wait for it, on average 95 minutes per day. That's an hour and a half of their day spent on the app, which does rank number one amongst all of the social media apps for most time used on the TikTok app. So that is where we are. What does all of this mean? All right, so what does all of this mean? Like we said, TikTok is beginning to trend older, and even the users themselves are just simply getting older. And it is right now the leader, right? The leader for Generation Z, and I think probably soon to be millennials, and those people are soon to be square in the main demographic of people that your church is likely going to be focused on reaching. The other reason, like I said earlier, consider the fact that Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube have all recently adopted a TikTok algorithm, Reels, Shorts, right, to make as a cornerstone of their social media strategy moving forward. And so they are responding to this social media app over here, which is why I don't think it's necessarily worth I don't know that you need to be ignoring it or that you should be ignoring it, right? These other social media platforms, they feel like, oh, we're going to be all in over here on YouTube, on Instagram. To perform well on YouTube and Instagram right now, you need to go all in on the TikTok feature that they have implemented. It's not called TikTok, it's called Reels, it's called Shorts, but you need to still be all in over on that. And so the legacy platform that made that famous you should start there. Those are reasons why I think TikTok is currently the most important of all the things. You might be wondering, well, then why we talk about YouTube last week? And we're going to talk about this in the very final episode, but just as a sneak peek of this little series that we're doing, you always want to be able to take your short form content and point it back to something more longer form, and that's where that can live over there on YouTube. That's the short answer to that, okay? So I also want to consider some of the theological implications for this, okay? Acts chapter 1, verse 8, very famously, the Great Commission, Jesus says, "But you will receive the power of the Holy Spirit. He'll come upon you, and then you will be my witnesses, telling people about me in Jerusalem, in Judea, in Samaria, and then ultimately to the uttermost parts of the earth." And you might be thinking, well, yeah, so why does me posting a dancing video of my senior pastor on TikTok accomplish the mission of reaching people? TikTok's algorithm is largely a mystery. People have been trying to crack that code. Obviously, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube are all studying it to try and create their own versions of it. However, there is one thing that we do know is that the way that TikTok spreads the message is very much in the same concentric circles that we see described by Jesus in Acts chapter 1, verse 8. It starts by sharing it to your followers. And if they respond well to it, it'll share it to more of their followers. And it starts even geographical. It starts around where you are. You can geotag yourself in your TikToks when you post them. And so it does accomplish the mission of helping spread that message until more and more people, hundreds, thousands of people, can get to hear the message of Jesus every day. Consider this. Let me just give you an anecdotal example. I'm a youth pastor in a ministry where on average on a given Wednesday night, we probably average anywhere between 100 and 150 students, okay? If I post a TikTok about just a clip from a message or a message on there that has something to do with God or theology, or I'm helping share and spread the good news, I'm helping teach people, encourage people, equip people, an average video that does not perform very well to my standards on TikTok will get somewhere between 200 and 300 views. That is literally double the number of people that see that content than come to my regular in-person gathering. So why does this matter? I think it matters because we have an opportunity to reach far beyond just the people that have their butts in their seats in the ministry that I lead. And the same is true for you. You have the ability to help get the message out there. Now you might be thinking, well, our church doesn't want to do that. Every church has been tasked by Jesus Christ himself, Acts chapter 1, verse 8, Matthew 28, 18 through 20, to help fulfill the Great Commission. And there's an element of discipleship in there where, yes, you have to teach them to obey everything that he has commanded us to do, but also there is a reach component. Get the message of Jesus out there. Can that be done via digital means? I would contend that yes, it can. And we talked about that early on. We talked about that actually a couple episodes ago in the message of Jesus be done and shared digitally? And you can go back and listen to it. I'll link to it here in the show notes. But yes, I would contend that yes, it can be done that way. And you'll see why, and you'll have an explanation of why that matters. All right, so the age-old question, right? What do I post? You might be wondering that. You might be asking that. Well, I'll link to an episode that I did at the end of 2022 on this podcast, but it's titled, I think, 9 TikTok and short-form video ideas that you can post on your church social media this week. I also laid out for you my complete weekly strategy in another episode. I think it's episode 25, the ultimate 2023 social media calendar strategy and posting schedule. I'll post both of those if those are something that you find interesting, but they're just chock full of ideas, and honestly, they're very like boots on the ground for me and stuff that I post every single week. But real quick, a high overview on some of those is there are like 3, 4, 5 different categories of things that you can post. The first one is trends. If you spend any time on TikTok, on the TikTok app, just yourself personally, I use that save feature incredibly liberally. It's the little like bookmark looking thing on your app. And then I can go back to my personal profile and see things that I've saved. But you got to jump on those trends fast. So I always on my posting calendar, I don't schedule myself out so much. I leave just some space to do some trends. And so 2 or 3 times a week, I say post a trend and I go into my saved things and I'm like, what is going on right now on TikTok? And if there's a certain song or a certain cap cut template or something like that, I just use it and I try to think of a creative, fun, relatable way to use it. And I just use it. Another thing is you can film like custom content, yourself. So like, let me give you an example of just a thing I'm trying. And you can go check it out on our church TikTok right now. I don't want to give you the link verbally here. So go to the show notes because I'm working on changing the name to it. I don't know if by the time this posts, if the name will be changed or not. But anyway, I made this game. I'm an author on downloadyouthministry.com. So I made this game called GIF Flashback where you watch a GIF for like 7 seconds and then immediately you're asked a question to just recall what you saw. And so I tried something where me and another member of my team, her name's Bailey, we went around all different places in the church, and that's intentional as far as TikTok is concerned. We'd swap out like outfits and we'd go to different places in the church. And so we shot them all at the same time, but they're in all different pockets and corners of the church. Some are outside, some are inside, some are, whatever, at my desk, her desk, in the Gaga pit, whatever. And one of us would run in and be like, quick, Bailey, give flashback. And we'd watch the game, all right? And while we're watching it on one of our phones, I would then edit where I'd put the game in on top of the phone. And so I or she would be playing it by answering the questions and giving the answers. But the user, while they're watching it, can also watch it and interact with it and play the game as well, right? And so that's a way to use a game that's made for social, but also like post it on your TikTok and just have some fun, right? You can do like emoji Bible guessing games, which by the way, go to my DYM link. I'll drop that in the show notes here as well. And you can I have all kinds of like a game called Emoji Phraseology, and every single one of them has a vertically formatted video or widescreen, or I'm sorry, video or static slide that you can post as well as you interact with or as you edit your video. So you can play like emoji guessing games, get flashback, all those things. But yeah, post some of those, just different like fun game type things to do. I also like to do like a lot of minute to win it style games, right? And I just film those and then I clip them up, I edit them, have fun with them. Other things I like to do, post educational videos, like not like here's some math, right? But like theologically educational videos. So the entire month of January, I talked a lot about habits. We were in a series of habits, and so I talked about the psychology of building a good habit. And then the entire month of February, I answered some deep theological like questions or just some core tenets like of the faith. And I walked through, salvation and the Holy Spirit and sin and the problem of evil. And I just like, I posted those, occasionally. Also, you can always post message clips. And this is why, if you go back to the last podcast that I posted about YouTube as the first step of the strategy, if you're pre-filming or if you're live streaming, you can find 2 to 3 short message clips and you can edit them with a good hook and where you resolve a good hook and you have some good music behind it. And you can post some of those message clips on your TikTok, and then you can point those back to the longer form video or audio content for people to find and consume. So speaking of hooks, speaking of archetypes, speaking of how to build it, let's dive into that next. Let's do it. Let's get nitty gritty here. Posting best practices. Number 1, you want to have a good hook. You can use the text on screen option, or you can use the text to speech option as the narrated AI sounding voice. But essentially, you need to tell your audience within the first 3 seconds what this video is going to be about, because swiping habits, people are not hovering on videos for very long. If it's not interesting, boom, they're on to the next thing. Boom, they're on to the next thing. This often requires a mindset shift for pastors who hold their hook or who hold their ace up their sleeve, usually until the very end of a sermon. Get it out at the very beginning. What are you talking about in this video? The other thing is use on-screen captions. They're not for just people who are hard of hearing at this point. Captions are useful because a lot of times people can't watch videos in public places with headphones in. So if your video has captions, they can still watch it even if their phone is volume is turned all the way down. In fact, check this out. 69% of people say that they view video with their sound off in public places. 69% is almost 70% of users, and 25% watch with sound off when they're even in private places. So if you have captions on your videos, people can still watch wherever they are. TikTok has an auto transcribe feature. It works really well. Just pop that onto every single video that you use. All right, you need to make sure you have a call to action. So as you're building your audience on TikTok, make sure that you give them a call to action. Tell them to follow for more, save or view this video for later, or head to the link in bio to watch the full message. Again, this is why if you are using our 6-step framework and you have your YouTube channel linked in your bio, you can send people who are watching message clips to go on and watch the full message to link in bio. And just remember that more than just going viral and building an audience is not just for vanity metrics, right? Is that if you have something significant and meaningful to say, people will want to dial in and listen to longer versions of what you have as they're in their discovery algorithms finding things on their phone and online. Also, watch where you're placing your text. In a TikTok video, the top, the bottom, and the right side are all off limits. So you really need to hit right in the middle and more left of center. I hate when I see people who post things and they post it behind the natural places that TikTok covers things. TikTok screen is incredibly busy. So just look and know where you can and cannot post your text on screen and make sure it doesn't get covered up. Captions and hashtags. I would recommend no more than a 1-sentence caption and no more than 3 to 5 hashtags. And if your caption has a word in it, you do not need to hashtag that same word later, right? Like we said, Gen Z is using TikTok, and TikTok is also building on the back end of more searchability. So if one of your words is already in your caption, you do not need the hashtag to find it. It will search all of the text on your screen, which again, use text on screen, use their text editor. I actually use TikTok. If I'm editing on my phone, I'd probably do 50% edit on my computer, 50% edit on my phone directly. If I'm editing on my phone, I edit in the TikTok app, then I download that without the watermark and I post out to all my other content. But TikTok is the starting spot for me. And so all the text on screen, all the things I use natively, they will search my video and find those things and help index that in their search back out to other people. And then finally, audio. If you are a business account, your audio options on TikTok are going to be far more limited, which is why if you can do an edit in a computer, it's going to be better for you. If you're not a business account, and I talk about this in my ebook, which we'll link to that in the show notes as well, there are pros and cons to whether or not you want to be a business account or not. I still to this day have not converted ourselves to a business account, but that day is probably coming to an end here soon. The biggest disadvantage is I can't just lazily use trending audio. That almost always is, not royalty free, and you have to pay royalties on it or whatever. There are workarounds to it where you edit the video with that audio in like Adobe Premiere Pro or something like that, and then it's like an original sound for you. But it's not being indexed in search based on that audio. Less and less, I think that the quality of the content is going to be more important than the actual like hacking of the system by finding the certain audio things. All right, well, thank you so much for hanging out this entire episode. Like I just said, if you have not yet grabbed our free ebook, this episode in particular on how to post a TikTok from scratch, the question that the title of the ebook is, have I already ruined my church TikTok account? And we'll help you answer that. So go grab your free ebook. Also, a rating or review would be incredibly helpful. Subscribe over on YouTube if you want to watch this video. We got lower thirds, we got custom graphics flying in. Some of the things I talked about are going to be visible on screen that you just have to listen to in your earbuds. And if you heard anything that you're like, that was interesting, I need to go unpack that a little bit more, we have free transcripts for you over at hybridministry.xyz. Head there, check it out. But we're so glad that you're on this journey with us. I hope that you are finding this 6-step social media framework helpful. This was just step number 2. Next episode, we're on step 3, which is Facebook. So excited for that. Join us. We'd love to have you there. And until next time, and as always, stay hybrid.